Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to Tallahassee.
If y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. Vish, alley-oop, hoodie girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Buckets here on Six Ring Canes. You've got me and Vish tonight. If you're watching this live, thanks for spending your Saturday evening with us. There was a lot of hoops action today. The men's played at noon with a win over LaSalle, and then the women played later on today against a top 10 Baylor team. And unfortunately, we didn't get the victory, but a lot to take from that. What up to everyone in the chat? Canes, Cats, Heat.
Regulars are here,
and then Chuck says joined.
Nice.
Welcome, Chuck. What's up, Jackson? We got some OGs. How's it going? Vish is actually in San Antonio. He was at the Baylor game. Had really good seats too. Vish, I know we got the L, but how was it seeing them play in San Antonio?
Yeah, I mean they played hard when God, Phil's already starting. Played hard. Didn't just the first half is where it got away, and
yeah,
unfortunate. Really, the end of the first half too. The lead was 16 or something, and then gotten it down to like 10, and then Baylor kind of finished the half.
Yeah, we seemed like once we would make a run, get it down to 10, and then Baylor would just bounce right back, and we could never get closer than to within 10. We just kind of had these little spurts. And then there'd be these dry spells where Baylor was just doing whatever they wanted at the rim.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the shout out to the San Antonio Spurs for not putting any stats on the board and just putting Spurs logos all over the place. Had no idea what the statistics were. All you had to score in the time. You had to score, the time, and the number of fouls. That was it. No idea the fouls. No idea who the fouls were on. Just the team fouls. And then there's the San Antonio Hall of Fame tournament logo on every freaking screen where they would normally have stats. So congratulations to you. I have no idea who did what.
And also for context, Vish is a Dallas Mavericks fan. So to have to see all the San Antonio Spurs logos is really annoying for him.
Yes. The weirdest thing is the Spurs played at home yesterday and had like a specialty court, and they swapped it out for their normal home court for this. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, F that franchise.
The men played first.
Yeah, that's why why don't we talk about the men first? Then we'll
Canes Cats Heat is upset over the win. LaSalle's a sneaky good team. I'm happy we got the win, but yeah, it was sloppy. LaSalle got into within like 6 a few times in that second half.
We got down to 4.
Sloppy.
It was a 4-point game with like 4 minutes left.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad we got the win bouncing back from that Colorado debacle, but there's a lot of things that have been exposed on this team, and my confidence in them is not as high as it was preseason. Canes Cat C says the men are on the ropes.
Well, we can.
I will say Clemson did lose to Memphis today. So that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe we'll play better against them than what I've thought.
Got a lot of people joining. Shout out to all the new listeners.
Why are people just saying joined?
I don't know. I think it might be because if they have the Twitter logo floating or the X logo floating over them, it might be automatic.
Oh, they're watching from the Twitter link.
It might automatically be pushing that out. So I don't know that the let's
Canes Cats Heat, slow down.
tranquilo. It's been like 7 hours. Are you still this pissed off? It's been like 6 hours since the game ended. But I will say
Maybe he just got more enraged from the women's team.
I mean, that's a whole other thing we're gonna get into in a minute. But no, I thought the men, came out okay. Just when they went up 18 in the second half, and
We just
frankly,
got lazy.
stopped playing defense, started giving up layups and open shots, stopped efforting for rebounds, and that's where the lead went.
Norchad had 0 fouls in the first half and managed to pick up 4 in the second half.
Yeah, he almost fouled out, which is pretty egregious when he had no fouls at the half.
Mm-hmm.
But just, overall, once we got up big, we just kind of stopped playing. Never really shot the 3 well in this game. So usually,
No.
Our old thing we fall back on, which is even when we're playing
3.
poor defense, we're making a bunch of threes. Didn't
Yeah.
happen today. And, we got away with it. Fortunately, made free throws.
I do want to address Canes Cats Heat said Nigel had 6 rebounds. He needs to be in transition. I'm not mad at that. I know we love to play in transition and we get a lot of buckets off transition, but our defensive rebounding and our offensive rebound really has been terrible. So we need everybody packing the boards. Colorado had second, third chance points against us when we played at Barclays last weekend. So if we're gonna have to give up some of our transition game to secure that, the other team only gets 1 shot at the basket, I'm okay with it.
And also, I would just say overall, we're not boxing out correctly. Just to be blunt about it, like you're supposed to put your ass into the opponent's player and shove them out of the way, not just go stand near the basket and jump, because then it becomes a 50-50 ball and you have inside position. You're supposed to use your butt. That's why it's called boxing.
They need to watch how Kyler Oldacre rebounds.
She dominated. It's unfortunate we lost. I gotta look at the stats for that
concussed
game.
What did Bill say? She almost concussed that poor
on
girl.
A jump ball too. That girl came in, ran into a brick wall. We were all laughing about it. But so I think just like the technique is bad. We're not putting our butts on people. And the way you rebound is you get inside position, you push your defender out with your ass, and then you go get the ball.
Yep.
You're not really going for the ball. You're making sure you're in between your defender and the opponent in the basket. That way, regardless of where the ball goes, you'll get it. And we're just we're not boxing out. So it's not that we're not efforting to get to the board. It's that they're not boxing out correctly. And so then you have 3 guys jumping for the ball, and it becomes it becomes a jump ball. And that's not what you want when you're rebounding. So I think that's a big struggle there.
I like what Jackson said about Cleveland being assertive. I want him to be even more assertive.
He was in the first half. In the second half, I thought
his mid-range game is fire. I want him to keep taking that because it's going to open up driving lanes for him. He's all over the boards. Again, boxing out the correct way would be nice. But he's kind of the wild card for us. And I think if we're going to have a chance to do well in conference play, we need him to be the assertive Matt Cleveland he was in the first half all the time.
Yeah, and he did kind of disappear in the second half. Wooga had a big game. So did Norchad. They both had career highs for points, by the way. But it was...
we need to put it all together. We don't play 40 minutes of basketball. We could be a really good team. And we just don't put it together consistently. Our 2 blowout losses versus Kentucky in the first half, we had the lead. We were rolling down 5 at the half, and then we let it get away. Despite how poorly we played in the first half against Colorado, we were within 1 at halftime and then just blew it in the second half. We need to play 2 full 20 minutes of basketball for each half. If we can continue to play this sloppy and lazy, we're going to lose a lot more games.
And it's the defense more than anything else. We are very lazy on defense. And that's problematic because if you have one guy being lazy on defense, they'll exploit it. And we have like half the team at any given time. A lot of ball watching. A lot of, frankly, just expecting Norchad to get the rebound.
Also, the one thing that bothered me the most, I missed like the first 6 minutes of the game because I worked last night, so I overslept a little bit. My fault. But I don't feel like our defensive rotations are quick enough. And this isn't just this game; it's every game. I feel like we're late coming out to close out on the shooter, and people are getting easy, wide open looks from three.
Well, so I would say at times, and that's the frustrating thing. You got to play defense for 40 minutes. We played defense for like 25 minutes today.
Mm-hmm.
In Colorado, we didn't really play defense at all, to be honest. But
I have that shirt that says 40 minutes of L with coach's face on it. Well, we got to play 40 minutes.
We're going to take some L's if we don't play better defense. And it's really an effort thing. It's an effort.
I mean, I'm glad we're talking about this and we have the win. But I agree with what a lot of people are saying in the chat, that it was definitely an ugly win, and we have a lot we need to improve on if we're going to compete in the ACC.
There's a mentality issue. You got to take pride in your defense. It looks like no one is right now. And it should be embarrassing giving up this many points.
Yep.
Like we scored 84 and barely won. Come on.
Yeah.
Gotta play better defense than this.
Jackson saying Virginia's down 2 to Northeastern with 50 seconds left. Clemson also lost to Memphis today. So the ACC, honestly, Duke isn't as good as, they've lost a few games. I guess North Carolina's probably ranked the highest.
They've had some bad losses. They've had a bad loss or two also.
I don't know. The ACC's wide open. It really is wide open. These blowout losses now suck for us against two good teams. It would have been nice to have those wins on our resume for the tournament, but we need to take care of business in ACC play. And I think we can do that. We've got some rough games coming up, but I think it's all doable if we can just play full 40 minutes of basketball and not this sloppiness. We should have beat LaSalle by like 25, 30 points, and we just stopped playing in the second half.
Right. When we got up 18, we just let it go.
It's just lazy. It's like we just think we're just going to stand there and jack threes and win by 30 every time. And I think we only had like 3 made threes this game.
I think it was 4 of 17. I said it was a number or something like that. It wasn't
and
good.
Wooga had most of them.
I think he might have had 2. I know Nigel had 1. Keyshawn had 1. I think Wooga had 2. That might be the number.
When Wooga shoots a 3, I expect it to go in.
Oh, really?
I texted that to Vish today when we were watching.
You texted it to me. You tweeted it from the Buckets account.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look, there's the first 25 minutes went pretty damn well. And then, we let up and let them back in the game and had to make a bunch of free throws to seal it. So it's not a disaster. Losing would have been, losing that type of game generally is not good, but if you blow an 18-point lead and lose it, that's a whole other
it's like FSU last year.
Whole other thing.
4 turnovers in the first half. That's not terrible for us.
No, we were clean in the first half, and then the second. Again, I think, and I don't know how.
2 minutes into the second half, we had 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think there is this mentality that we made the Final Four last year, and we can just show up and assert dominance. That's not how any of this works, and I've seen multiple times where we just got these funks in the middle of games, and that was certainly what happened here. And I don't know what the overall how you fix that, but you just got to play harder for 40 minutes because
honestly, if a starter's playing lazy, bench him. I'd rather see a younger guy play hard.
I did see Coach L doing more of that in this game. When someone made a mistake, he'd immediately get someone else up.
Mm-hmm.
I also think we have a problem with our starting backcourt being too small.
I said it in the offseason.
And we're going to persist with it, I guess, but
I hate to say I told you so, but it looked okay at the beginning of the year. His offensive game was looking good. I'm like, okay, we might be able to overcome this because both of them can shoot and whatever, but it's too small.
It's too small, and it's not. It's too small, and not. When we're not scoring, then it becomes a
liability,
a big problem at that point, and that's kind of what happened today.
Who do you want to see? Who would you like to see as our starting 5?
I would start Keyshawn
over.
Bensley.
Because of the length?
Yeah, just it's better defensively. In fact, if you look
Mhm.
at, I mean, I don't have the breakdown in front of me. I'd love to know what our lineups plus minus was because it felt we played better when either Nigel or Bensley was not on the court. But I haven't looked at this.
Keyshawn for Pack, I don't agree.
No,
You
there's
don't
no
bench.
way.
You don't bench Nigel. The same thing happened last year with Pack where it took him a bit to get going offensively. We've seen a spark of that against Kansas State. But his shooting ability and the way he stretches the floor because of the threat that he is from the 3-point line, you don't bench Pack.
Yeah, and I would also say that they are overplaying him out at the 3-point line, which is why he had 7 assists in this game.
Yeah,
So
he was
like I know we just all we want him to do is just shoot threes, but he's got much more game than that.
Mm-hmm.
And he only took 1 3 because they were overplaying him and he was going around his guy and he scored 11 points. He made 4 twos
and 7 assists, as
7
Jackson
and,
is
yeah,
saying.
and 7
He's
assists.
facilitating.
So
and this is an argument I had with somebody on Twitter earlier today. Vish gets so mad at me because I entertain these people. That Nigel needs to be shooting 10 threes a game. And it's like that's not how it works. Nigel Pack is not a secret. People are going to overguard him on the 3-point line because he can literally make a shot from half court. He's that kind of threat. And that's why you have him on the floor. Yes, he's a bit of a defensive liability because he's short and he's not the best defender, but he's pulling people out of the lane. He's pulling people off other people. Wooga is making threes. Matt Cleveland's making has a great mid-range game. He's making threes. You have to have Nigel on the floor. He's too much of a threat. And now he's faking and driving and dishing out or dishing to Norchad. Just because he's not making threes doesn't mean those points that it's negative points. The points are coming and it's because of him. You're just not going to see it on the stat sheet all the time.
But I mean, look, I do not want him just jacking up contested threes. Like that's not a good
but then you F with his confidence too. Coach L had talked about, giving him the confidence to take those shots. But if he's just jacking up threes to jack him up, and he's a really good shooter, but if he's taking the wrong shot, he's not going to make it. And then it's going to mess with his mind more. You want him comfortable. And if he's not getting threes, but he's opening it for somebody else, then give Nigel 15 assists a game as long as we still win.
Right. And I think this is where I think, I don't agree with what Kane's Catsy is saying here because it's not, there's other ways to impact the game. And he had 7 assists. So, those aren't his points, but if they play off of him, he shoots threes and makes them instead. We get the same points we're getting by him pulling the defense away and setting up other people for open shots. So
and don't get it twisted. We're not saying we don't want Nigel to shoot. Like he's a great 3-point shooter. If that option is there, we want him shooting. But he's impacting it in other ways, even if he's not taking that 3-point shot. Hence the 7 assists, or he drives, passes it out, and it gets the defense moving. We make one extra pass and they score. He's not getting the assist for that. The other guy is, but he's the one who started it, getting the defense on their toes.
Right, and so, look, if he damn near puts up a double with assists being one of them, we're going to win a lot of games. He doesn't necessarily have to be the one putting the ball in the basket to be responsible for the basket. So I thought he was fine. Bensley is the one who I've seen over, from the beginning of the year to now, seen a kind of decline on impacting games. And I saw him pass up some shots today that I would like to see him shoot. I think you got to. I don't know. I also think he might be better coming off the bench when we need to take Nigel out and having a traditional point guard as a backup. So I personally would switch the lineup up. I don't think Coach L's going to right now.
No. I will say, though, I like what I'm seeing for Wooga. I wish he would be a little bit easier on his body. I love his dunks. It's the fun play. But he's taking some hard falls to the ground. And this isn't football. Like I just he's kind of like our go-to scorer right now. I just would love him to just be like you don't have to be fancy. Go up with the ball, that's fine, but just take care of your body, my friend, please, because we're gonna need you through the season.
So yeah, but I don't think he's complaining his team is small. He's stating a fact, but I think it's intentional. So I mean, he did.
We don't know what goes behind the scenes with recruiting, if he's tried to get bigs and they haven't come, or if he's intentionally playing small ball. Obviously, we made it to the Final Four last year and the Elite Eight before that and didn't have an issue. This is a different team this year. A lot of younger guys that are going to need to step up. So it's, we all have these expectations to keep getting back to the Elite Eight into the Final Four, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a harder role. We have younger guys who are the veterans on this team, and we'll see who steps up.
Yeah, and again, the mentality you got to lock in for 40 minutes. You have to take pride in your defense. I don't see us doing that right now. I will say, one of the things we talked about on either it was Monday or Thursday show. We did a lot of shows this week.
I didn't watch the Colorado breakdown that you guys did. I didn't have time.
You didn't see the stream get disconnected because they thought we were violating copyright laws. You missed that part.
With my long weekend to go to DC and New York, I had a bunch of shifts in a row, so I didn't get a chance. I usually watch every single pod, either rewatch it or watch it later on if I wasn't on it. So this is the first one I've missed.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm just kidding. But one of the things we talked about was who is the backup big, and trying to establish that over these next couple of games before heading back into conference play. And
I don't think we've answered that yet.
Well, I think we did today. Did Nwoko even play though?
I don't think Nwoko got into the game. No.
Yeah, AJ Casey played well.
The difference, because the difference is there though, is Norchad wasn't in foul trouble early, so we kept him on the floor longer.
He tried his damnedest though. No,
he tried. Yeah, he did at the end.
But AJ Casey
I think
played.
That's the thing is Norchad gets these early fouls, and then we're switching back and forth between Casey and Nwoko just to keep one of them fresh. And since he wasn't in foul trouble today, we didn't need all three of them. I would like it to stay that way.
Well, I mean,
but I would like Nwoko to get minutes because we're gonna need his height.
I don't know if Casey plays like he did today against one opponent. It's not a good one, but 7 boards. Stayed on the court for 11 minutes, was not lost out there. Good help defense. He played as the center and next to Norchad in spurts. Yeah. I thought he played really well. And he made both his free throws. His one missed shot he got stuffed on. And then should have gotten the ball back to go back up, and they didn't pass it to him. But I thought he played pretty well, and that's kind of all we're going to – I mean, if we can get that kind of performance, we're just trying to survive the non-Norchad minutes, and I thought he put us in position to do that today. And frankly, I'd like to see some consistency out of that position because it does feel like, let me try Nwoko for 2 minutes, then Casey for 2 minutes, and swap them back and forth. I'm glad he gave Casey a run here, and I'm hoping that continues the next game.
To get him some play. But like I said, I would love to see some Nwoko minutes, and that's where it makes me mad that we let them back into the game in the second half, because we had to keep Norchad in late, and that could have been valuable minutes where you could have Casey and Nwoko on the floor. So that kind of sucks because I do want Nwoko getting minutes, but yeah, if Casey is going to be that backup guy, then it's good that that he's getting those minutes. Coach L said post game Casey will get more minutes after today's performance. Good. I didn't watch the post game because I immediately moved on to the women's game. So
I went to the arena. But I think it's easier for backups when you give them a consistent role. And we have done a lot of shuffling. Oh, well, let's try Keyshawn. No, let's put Watson back in and bench Keyshawn. Let's bench the other one. Same thing with the bigs. We've kind of been swapping them in and out. Yeah. And so I'm glad there was a little bit more consistency in this game, and that it was clearly Keyshawn and Casey were the backups.
I was going to say that those are the first two off the bench. Like, that's what we should expect, is Casey and Keyshawn to be the first two guys off the bench.
Yeah, and they played extended minutes, and the only other backup that got was Chris Watson for 3 minutes. So
yeah, I would like Keyshawn to go to take out his cornrows. I miss the hair on the court running around. But
it's more intimidating too. It makes those of you
that have been watching this show for long enough know my obsession with Keyshawn's hair.
Well, I mean, it makes him look taller. It's a little bit more intimidating given our lack of height.
It's so weird watching him play point guard because he's so tall. Like, I know he's comfortable handling the ball, but it just looks awkward because he's so tall. He had like a late growth spurt. Like last year when he visited campus, he was 6'5", and then he came back to actually start school and he was 6'8". It's so crazy to me.
Yeah. And look, it's a win. There's next game is Stonehill on Thursday. Melissa and I will be there.
Yes,
For
we will be there
for that big clash with Stonehill. Stop by
and that's a home game, so I shouldn't be jinxing it.
There's no such thing as jinxing our athletic programs. They are what they are. And so it's good to get the win. Stonehill should be a walkover, and then gets more serious again after that. Here I'll end the men's discussion. We're talking about women with a shocking stat. We only made 8 fouls in this game, and Norchad made half of them.
Again,
we got play smarter.
We got lazy down the stretch, and some of Norchad's fouls were just stupid. Like, I hope they're sitting down with him and looking at this, because some of them it's just like he's like obviously leaning into the guy and just swatting. Like, he's not even trying to play like straight up defense. I was like, what are you doing? Just because you're not in foul trouble doesn't mean you can just be sloppy.
Second half was just like
I was screaming at my television. Screaming.
He basically was like, I'm not going to foul out now. Don't have any fouls. I'm going crazy.
He got his 4th foul. I forget what you said. Something about Norchad has 4 fouls or something, and he had 0 in the first half. And I was like, yeah, he's just trying to keep his average.
Yeah. Well, and also he got away with one of the possession before he got his 4th foul, and no one boxed out, and they were going to get an offensive rebound put back, and he just trucked from behind, like 2 hands in the back, just boom. Yeah. Shoved like full speed right into the LaSalle player, and he goes flying into the crowd. They just didn't call a foul. I mean,
and I agree with what Jeff says. He says Nwoko needs to emerge. I expect him to get better for the ACC schedule, so I would like to see him versus lesser competition in the next couple of games. I agree, and that was one of the things I said. I was mad that we couldn't hold the lead in the second half because I would have loved to see some Nwoko minutes. Who was the football commit?
This is where I disagree, because I think either he or Casey needs to step up and be able to give us 10 to 15 minutes, and whoever that is, I don't care which one. I don't.
No, but I would have loved for them both to get minutes, and Nwoko didn't get any.
One of them needs to seize that backup role, and the other one can be favor air. To be honest, for this year, and if that's Nwoko, that's fine. Look, we are who we are. There's no circumstance where I want either
Nwoko transferring. Melendez. Well, okay.
I'm
sorry.
Not gonna pretend like I know who that is.
I'm not 2025 commit.
Oh, come on, man. But
good stuff. Anyway.
So no, but I mean, look, you can't play someone to worry about them transferring. When I think about how I want the minutes distributed, I want Nigel's, Wooga's, and Norchad's maximized. Norchad does his damnedest to minimize his minutes, but I want him maximized. And then that means backup minutes, I want Keyshawn to get a majority of them. And then after that, it's either Casey or Nwoko, and that's kind of it at this point. Maybe a few minutes here or there defensively for Watson, but we are what we are. We're not deep. There's a big drop off to most of our backups, and there's no circumstance where I want in a real game Nwoko and Casey getting a lot of minutes. Like when we get to the real part of it, it's going to be either or.
This is the time where I miss Harlan Beverly, because he was kind of like a staple off our bench that could come in and always give us good minutes defensively and offensively. So, I will say that.
But this is also another reason why I'd like to see Bensley move to the bench, because I actually think he would provide that. Because Keyshawn, I like Keyshawn, but he's a fireball, man. No, he comes in there and the ball's going up, the shot's going up. He's not really running. Confidence. Definitely not liking that, and maybe that's a bad idea.
He's got more confidence than hair.
The hair's still there. It's just cornrowed.
Yeah, I know. Before we move on to the women, shall we do prize picks?
Sure. I don't have it up, but I can talk through it.
Do it.
Presenting sponsor of 5 Years of Sports, 6 Rings Canes, and of course this show, Buckets, is Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com and register for a new account. Enter the offer code 5. That is the number 5 spelled out, FIVE. And sign for a new account. Deposit up to $100. And prizepicks.com and 5 Reasons Sports will match that deposit. And the way you play is simple. Pick 2 to 5 players, bet the over under their stats. If you get them all right, you win. And the more The more you put into your bet, the higher the payouts are. But again, if you register today for a new account, use the offer code 5. That is FIVE. PricePicks.com. 5 reasons sports will match your first deposit up to $100. That's PricePicks.com. Offer code 5 FIVE. There we go.
All right. Next up, I'm sad. The women played. So the women just cracked the top 25, ranked 24 after starting the season 8-0. Big test at a neutral site in San Antonio against top 10 Baylor. And it shows how top heavy the women's side of basketball is. We made a few runs to get back into it within 10, but we couldn't stay consistent. It's the first time, in my opinion, this year where we looked lost on defense. Coach Meyer kind of prides herself in defense. And it just wasn't there. There were some good spots, but definitely got a lot to work on to try and get to that elite level in the women's basketball world. Your thoughts, Vish? Vish was there, watched it live.
I was there, and if you watched the game, you would have seen me in the background the entire time the ball was going on the side of the court where our bench was. I was in frame, but yeah, I mean the defense struggled a little bit in the first half. Obviously, they're a good team. They were hitting threes. They made 5 of 10, I believe, in the first half. I'm pulling the stats up for the first time now, thanks to the fine folks at the Spurs Arena who can't put stats on the board. And yeah, I mean the defense in the first half killed us. We also only scored 57 points, which was never going to win a game like this. So there's enough,
and we didn't hold them to under 70, like I said.
Yeah. There's enough issues to go around, but really giving up almost 50 in the first half, like you're not.
It killed us. They scored in the 70s. Like our defense definitely improved in the second half, but we could never really get it going offensively. There was a point there where we held Baylor to like 0 points for a few minutes, and we couldn't cut into their lead because just offensively we weren't doing anything. That first half it was killer. We weren't covering the backdoor screens. Baylor got easy layups. They were making threes like crazy.
Yeah, they finished. They finished 10 to 20 from 3.
We were down 11 at half. 14. I don't even remember. We were down double digits at half.
We were down
a couple of times
50.
We were able to get within 10, and it never developed from there.
Yeah, we were down 16 at the half.
16? Okay. I forget what it was.
But they scored 49 points in the first half, only 26 in the second. We defended a lot better. They hit a bunch of threes. And a lot of it was missed rotations, missed defensive assignments, which is unfortunate unusual and unfortunate because it was in front of our bench in the first half when we were doing that. So theoretically, you should play a little bit better defense with the coaching in your ear. It just didn't happen. We left shooters, a lot of busted assignments, which just left people wide open. And again, they shot 10 to 20 from 3. We shot 3 of 16, and all 3 of them were Stedman. No one else made a 3.
I mean, it was nice to see her get going offensively. She had a nice little mid-range pull-up also.
Yeah.
Our best shooting performance actually was our free throw shooting, which was shocking. That's our best. I mean, we're like ranked second to last in free throw percentage coming into this game. That's like 340 something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a ton of free throws, but I think we only missed 2.
We missed 3. It was 10 of 13.
3. Yeah. So, I mean, leave it to us to lose, but actually have good free throw shooting, because free throw shooting has plagued us the whole season. So it was good to see that. I thought Kyla looked pretty good down low as well. It was nice to see her have a good game.
One thing, in Jeff's asking how the experience of the game, the one thing you could really see at the game is how much she was impacting the whole. She was physically dominant, and it did allow us to play better defense in the second half, rebound better, and it's not necessarily reflected in the stats, but she was a force. I guess the 3 blocks do reflect a little bit, but she was clearly impacting the game all over. I thought she played great. We mentioned Stedman had by far her best game of the year.
I like what Dwyer was doing. She had a lot of dribble drives, making the layups this time. I know against Mississippi State, against Who did we play last? What was the game we were watching at Angry Joe's? Oh, against DePaul. Sorry,
DePaul, yeah.
against DePaul. She had really good dribble drives and she was missing the layups. And I was like, what's going on? But no, she had some really good drives to the basket. Her defense was on point. It was nice to see Stedman get going offensively. One thing that I noticed is Lamaya Hilton didn't have a single point.
She didn't play well. She got banged up there, but she wasn't playing well before that.
Yeah.
She airballed a couple of threes.
Yeah.
Tasha struggled as well. She'd been playing well. Julia missed several layups. So, I mean, we basically...
Jasmine didn't have a good shooting game either.
Yeah, so we kind of had some of our better players not play well. Some of the shot selection was pretty bad too. In particular, we were going on these runs and cutting into the lead and then just take the dumbest shot. And you're like, what are you doing? As you mentioned, there was that stretch where both teams were just missing back and forth where we really need to dig in and make a dent.
We both said that at different times.
Without Rosie, I'm the other one that said it, but and we didn't do it. And then, of course, inevitably they hit a three because they made 10 of 20. But really, the game was won and lost at the 3-point line. They made 7 more threes than we did, and that was the difference. And we got some looks too. We just couldn't knock them down. Missed a lot of shots in close, and then the defense wasn't what it needed to be. But
it really was. We missed a lot of in the paint shots. It was actually pretty frustrating because that's how Baylor got their lead in the first quarter. Is they were making their shots down low, and we were just bricking everything down low, just in and out, off the rim. And then we just never got back into it. We can never get within closer than 10.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I know Baylor's a top 10 team. They're really good. This is a de facto road game. But that game was there for the taking. Like we really just kept stubbing our toe at the worst possible time, and also the ease with which Baylor was able to generate open 3-point looks, and of course, big thing for them, they made them, really hurt us because every time we'd seem like we're chipping away at this lead, they'd hit a couple of threes in a row, and it's back up to 15 or 16 again,
and like wide open threes.
Yeah. Wide open threes.
And that's not something you've seen from our defense this year. Our defensive rotations are usually really, really good. So Baylor got us uncomfortable early, and we never were really able to kind of rebound from that. And so even though we played a lot better defense in the second half, our offense never really took off. So we were never able to really get back into it.
Yeah, and that really hurt in the second half because we, as you said, it was so hard to chip away at the lead because we could not score consistently. So we get it down. We got down to 10 multiple times in the second half, never got it below 10. And there were times we had the ball, multiple possessions down 10, and just bad turnover, dumb shot, forcing up a wild 3. And so you don't need to do that. And yeah, I wish we could have the game over again. And not that Baylor's not better than us, but I felt like we could have played it a lot closer.
Yeah.
And even the way the game was unfolding, I didn't feel like, and obviously we follow this program closely, we've been blown out, in the past, and felt like, man, we just got overwhelmed. I didn't get that sense today. They're just really good. We gave them open shots. They made them. Again, if someone makes 10 threes on 20 attempts, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
But I thought it was different than years past when, last year, even in the ACC tournament, we were about to embark on a run to the Elite Eight. Like, we had nothing for Virginia Tech in that game. They destroyed us. I'm like, we can't play with that team. And Baylor's of that caliber, and I did not feel that way in this game. I think, we had
our chances. We weren't able to convert. That's the problem. Our defense in the second half kept us in it, but our offense, we just, there was no firepower.
Yeah, other than Allie. She played great. And we actually talked about the game we were at, the women's game. She's actually, she's obviously known for her shooting. That's why we got her, and she hasn't been shooting well. She's actually solid defensively too. So you can keep her out on the court, and that's why she got so many minutes this game. Once she starts making shots, like, she's not going to kill you.
You want her out there if she's shooting, and it's good to see, honestly, because we haven't really seen her get into any type of rhythm. It was also her last points was actually 2-point. It was a little
Yeah.
dribble drive, like mid-range shot. And that's good to show because people got to guard her on the 3-point line. If she can, pump fake and drive past them and get that little mid-range floater, that'll definitely help her game for
Yeah,
sure.
you could see how confident she was to even take that shot.
Yeah.
Because it was a tough shot. That was actually right in front of
Yeah.
where we were sitting because it was on that side of the court.
Coach Meyer will get us right though.
Well, I don't know if there's much to fit. I mean, it's just minor adjustments, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. And I feel it's more that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in comparison to the men's team who won today, I feel better about the women's long-term prospects after the loss than I do about the men's after the win.
Yeah, no, isn't that weird?
Well, because you mentioned there's a gap in women's basketball, right? And there is, and even though this is gonna sound stupid because it was an 18-point game. If Baylor is a top 10 team, which they are, we're not that far off that, even though it was an 18-point game. Because I felt like we were their equal in terms of matching up with them, belonging on the court.
If we played how we did in the second half and the first half, this game's a lot closer.
If we played defense better, if we made a few of those open threes we were missing. Again, other than Allie, no one even made one. So, and it wasn't for lack of looks. I mean, Lamaya had 2 wide open ones that she airballed. So it was just one of those days where we could have played it closer. And if that's one of the better teams in the country, which again it is, we're not that far off of that. So I feel a lot better about that. And in comparison to the men who have played 2 teams that you would say, okay, are probably tournament teams and just been blown off the court both times. I feel better about this team. Went in to start filling one against a team that's going to be in the tournament. I think there's some corrections that need to be made in terms of, playing, especially in the leaving 3-point shooters open. I'm sure coach is not going to have fun looking at that, the film of how they were generating all those, the rotations and all that. But largely, I think we knew this though, right? This is why we were so excited coming into this year. The hats off to those teams the last couple of years, especially last year making the Elite 8. Those were gutty wins. Those teams are tough. The amount of talent that came in.
This is our most talented team that we've had in a very, very long time.
Right. And so you can kind of see that. Tasha and Z didn't even play well in this game, but we have 3 really good bigs, and Kyla dominated. And all right, with Kyla,
I said it before. Our 3 bigs are so different. If you need to muscle people down low, push people out of the way, you got Kyla. If you need a more athletic big, someone that can stretch the floor and shoot threes, you got Z, and you've got Tosh, who's coming back from injury too. And then you've got all of our guards. I mean, you've got 10 people. I think last pod we had said Stedman might be getting pushed out of the rotation, but she played really well today.
She pushed herself right back into it. Look at that.
She pushed herself right back in.
And that was interesting because coach made that move.
We've got 7 guards that are in the rotation.
I mean, it was interesting because again, no freaking statistics at the game, but I forget what the score was when we put Allie in for the first time, because she normally, we weren't saying she got pushed out of the rotation. She got pushed out of the rotation.
She did.
She was hardly playing, and it was a point in the game where we were struggling, and
she came in and hit a 3.
Yeah, coach went to her. She hit a couple of threes in that stretch and played good defense. And actually, I guess I can share this. I don't think coach would care. But Allie, when she subbed her off the game, coach always talks to them when they're coming out the court. Then when she sat down, she walked back over to where Allie was. It was like, way to do your job. And then went back and kept coaching the team. So that was cool, because you could tell she's probably been talking to her about, look, come in there. You're our shooter. Be confident, shoot the ball.
Shoot.
And she did that, and it paid off. So it was
It's funny. She made those 2 threes basically back to back, and then we came back down the court, and someone else took a 3 and she was open in the corner, and I tweeted out, I'm like, man, I would have loved Allie to get that ball back for a heat check.
Yes, and
as I tweeted we missed it. Came back on the defensive end, got the rebound, whatever, come back, and she shoots, and I was like, yeah, and then she bricks it, and I'm like, all right, I just ate my words. But I was like, when someone makes back-to-back threes, you got to get them the ball again, do a little heat check.
Yeah, and I think
she was a little spark, and that little her threes, we got to within 10 with her on the floor.
But again, the defense just wasn't good enough, and that's like we actually didn't make up a lot of ground, even though she was hitting all these threes. That was the frustrating thing. Like you expect her to come in there, and when she makes those threes to really, okay, we're gonna cut the lead down, and I don't even know if we made up ground.
The defense didn't.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking at it. She came in, her first three did cut it from we were down 10, cut it to 7. They immediately hit a three the next time down. She had another three to cut it to 7 again. No one scored for a while. And then they ended up making a free throw. And then they actually scored the next several points, and we were down 11.
Well, at one point in the first quarter, Baylor had a 13-0 run. So we shot ourselves in the foot like really early.
Yeah, and I think look, this is just a hats off to Baylor thing, but the speed with which they were able to go on those runs, they happened so quickly. Because we were almost like we were methodically chipping away at the leader, actually leading at the beginning of the game, but running our offense, getting good looks, making some of them, and they would just hit 2 or 3 threes in a row. It's like, oh.
Yep. It literally go from down 10 to down 18.
Yeah, how did this happen? What happened? We were playing so well.
Finish my tweet. I couldn't even finish my tweet about us being down 10 before we were down 16 again.
And that was the thing that definitely jumped out, and maybe that's like the next step for our program is being able to score in bunches like
Baylor's
that.
a really good team.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that showed out. Like that's why when we were playing well, it wasn't really showing up much on the scoreboard, and they would just pop, and then it's like, damn, all that work, God, got in 2 plays, 3 plays, and that's the one thing. Our team has a lot of ability. We do not have that explosive scoring ability to just like string a bunch of points together. And
yeah, we don't got Destiny Hardwick who can just score 15 straight to bring.
Even that took a while, man. That took a while.
That took like 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the type of team that can do, frankly, what Baylor did, which is just, everyone on the court can shoot threes, and we can just explode and score a lot of points quickly. So for us, it was really important we didn't fall behind like that. And then we did that, chasing the game. We fought hard. We made some runs to get down, like you said, multiple times to 10. But they would just so easily be able to hit a couple of threes or get a basket here. They were so easy for them to do that and just erase. We would slowly, play good defense, get a bunch of stops, finally force the ball into the basket. Again, other than Allie, no one even made a three. So it was all 2-pointers. And we got down to 10. All right. And then boom, 3, boom, 3. It's just like, how's 16 again?
It's like that.
And
it was crazy.
It was one of those games. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the other thing I wanted to address is that Jalea has been coming off the bench the last couple of games. There was one game where she didn't dress, and then the last 2 she's been coming off the bench. I wonder if the starting lineup we've rolled with the last 2 games is the starting lineup going forward. I mean, I know Katie Meyer is not afraid to change things up, but
I think
instead of Jalea starting, it's been Cheyenne.
And I think I think Cheyenne's going to continue to start. I don't know if Jalea is going to continue to be on the bench though. Although Lachey played pretty well, I think we're gonna see a fluid lineup really throughout. She's already mixed it up multiple times. We also don't know what's going on with Jalea, because remember she missed one game entirely, then came off the bench in the next one, and
came off the bench in this one.
Off the bench here. So I mean, Coach told us when she was on before the season started that she's going to take some time finding her lineup and her rotations, and I think we're still doing that. You could see that today pretty clearly when all of a sudden Stedman got 19 minutes, right? And so
and it's not only that, but even in previous games, the lineup we come out in the second half isn't our starting lineup. Coach switches it up whatever she sees, and it's been working. So obviously we lost today, but still we're 8-1.
So I think Jalea will probably start again.
John, I think John's referring to the men's team. We're talking
the Saints basketball program. No, he said for both teams.
For both, L's are piling up. This is the women's first loss this season after 9 games against a top 10 Baylor team. So I'm not sure.
And the men won today, so
yeah, like the women are 8-1 and the men are 8-2.
8-2, I think, yeah. or 9-2, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the men's losses are a little bit rougher, but the women's program is in a really we have so much, like we said before, this is probably the most talented team we've had in a while. This Baylor team is really good. They're a top 10 team. So we kind of took one in the mouth today, but I mean, there's a lot of big wins to be had in the ACC. There's like 6 or 7 ACC teams that are ranked in women's basketball. So we've got a lot of resume building to do, and we got 10 players that can easily start. So the L's are not piling up for the women's team.
No, but look, it's still early in the season because we haven't hit conference play yet. So
yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Both these teams could have, I would say, high ceilings. I feel like the women's floor is higher than the men's floor.
Well, in my opinion, honestly, on the men's side, I don't think the ACC is as good as what we probably thought in the offseason. So I think we're all going to kind of beat up on each other.
Well, I mean, this is why I say the men's floor is lower than and by that, for those that don't understand what I'm saying, they could have a much worse season. I think the women are too talented. They're in a tough conference, which means you're going to lose some games, but also, they'll get the benefit of the doubt.
We play at Virginia Tech, and they're easily like a top 3-4 team. Like
yeah, they were in the Final Four last year. But I think, but the women will get the benefit of the doubt. They're also too talented to have a bad record. So they're going to win a lot of ACC games anyway, and they're obviously well coached. Not really worried about that aspect. So they're going to be at worst 5, 6, 7 seed in the NCAA tournament at worst. If the men don't get their shit together, especially rebounding and focused on defense,
we'll be lucky.
There's going to be no sympathy for the 4th best team in the ACC this year.
Nope.
Look what happened to Clemson last year, right? And so, so they gotta really lock in and elevate. Like you said, we're gonna trade losses. Everyone loses conference games. Frankly, everyone loses a bad conference game or two every year. That's just the reality of it. You're like, how do we lose to the worst team in the conference? Because they still have ACC caliber players. That's why.
Yep.
And sometimes you just play poorly, but they have to elevate above that middle pack of, we're all beating each other up. Because if you all beat each other up, you're all going to be beating each other up in the NIT then.
Exactly.
And they need to elevate up there. It's Duke, Carolina, Miami, and Virginia are supposed to be the best teams in this conference and the ones that make the tournament for sure. And right now we've not really necessarily played like it. And so, we got to step it up. We can't lose. That Clemson game is huge. You got to win that. Win your home games, which we've done a good job of doing, and defend better, rebound hard, win some of these road games, and finish top 2, 3 in the ACC will be fine. For the women, I mean, I think some of that was execution. We missed some open looks. I felt like we missed a lot of makeable shots. I don't know that it was
a lot of layups. A lot of shots right at the basket that just didn't go in. So
Baylor shot lights out from 3, which was ultimately the difference.
Yep, it's a shot in the mouth, but it's early. It's our first loss of the season. If you would have told me we were 8-1, likely 9-1 going into conference play for the women, I would have taken that very easily.
So yeah, the women, I think they have 2 more games.
Is it 2 more?
Because it's Jackson State on Wednesday, and then I think they have 1 more because I think I'm going to it. Yeah, Alabama State. Yeah.
So likely we should be 10-1 going into conference play. If you would have told me that in the offseason, I would have been very happy with that. Given that we played at a ranked Mississippi State, we played DePaul, who killed us last year. So 10-1 going into conference play. I'll take that.
And that is the next test on December 31st. Louisville, who is ranked high at home. So yeah, we got 2 games to kind of clean some stuff up. But overall, this easily could have been a much closer game. So I'm less worried about it. I would say it's very different from what we've seen. Well, even the men's losses, we're just dude, what are you people doing out there? Yeah, this was more just got away in the first half a little bit, battled hard, just couldn't get over that hump to really put, I would say, game pressure on Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor kept us at arm's length because they're a
I'm
good
feeling
team.
more confident about going to Cleveland than Phoenix.
Poor Matt.
No, I have high expectations for this women's team. Like, I don't know about you, Vish, but like just the talent we have on this team, kind of the momentum the program in general is on. This from last year to this year, like I have a lot of high expectations, maybe more than I should, but I'm just very excited about this team.
Yeah, no, and I think they'll continue to get better. I think we'll shoot the ball better than this. It was all those ugly Spurs logos just threw us off. Yeah, it's not going to be an issue going forward. So,
right, should play at the Mavericks Stadium, right? Mavericks Arena.
That is where the Final Four was last year. So,
all right. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, just gotta run some numbers on my travel budget apparently, because and other than that.
If anybody was following the Buckets thread at some point today, you'll understand why it says what's Vish's travel budget. Bill knows. But in the end, it ended up with a bunch of us getting blocked.
Melissa chose drama. This has been. I shouldn't have ever showed that to you.
I chose violence.
You chose violence. You never would have seen it. I showed it to you when we were together last weekend. And I was like, look at this.
Well, I wouldn't have seen it on my main account because that person already had me blocked.
You're blocked.
But now I have two accounts because we have the Buckets_Canes account. So I decided to call out said person via that account and then drag some of Buckets' loyal followers and other co-hosts into the fold. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Basically, just don't ask a total stranger how they afford to travel so much for sporting events because it's inappropriate.
I mean, also, like, whatever. I mean,
I
have a job. Like, I don't know what answer you're looking for.
But that's what I said. I said he has a.
I know, but it's like
it may have been really sarcastic, but it was somewhere around the words of there's this thing where he goes to 9 to 5 Monday through Friday where they pay him to perform tasks. He saves money and then spends money on traveling. And then it may have been a little bit more sarcastic than that. And said person got very offended and
said she was going to report us to the authorities at the school.
She was going to report us to the higher ups. And I was just like, we have no affiliation, but way to go.
But also, yeah, please do that.
But Matt has higher ups.
I mean, look. She knows.
Hi, Matt. Shout out to our co-host who wasn't unable to chime in on the pod tonight. But I don't know when's our next pod.
Let's see. Tuesday I'm flying to Miami. Wednesday's my mom's birthday.
I'm at work. You're at the game.
Well, on Wednesday? I'm not.
Aren't you going to a game?
No, we're both going on Thursday. I can't go the Wednesday. What's my mom's birthday? So.
Oh, that's right. So maybe. What time is the game Thursday?
8.
Oh, that'd be a really late night pod.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a pregame breakdown or something on Thursday.
I thought we were going to Titanic to get a Caesar salad. I don't know. We'll talk.
Oh, yeah. Caesar salad and fries. Don't hate on my dietary loves.
I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on it. It was your idea.
It's a really good Caesar salad. All right. Don't hate on the Caesar salad.
I am not hating on it. It was your idea. You're the one who was like, oh, 8 p.m. That gives us time to go to Titanic and get a Caesar salad.
Listen,
so like,
shout out to Titanic. Your Caesar salad is on point. They also have really good beers too.
I was not making fun of you. I was being respectful of your predefined wishes and saying, well, we can't be.
Yes. No, we are going to go to Titanic because I want my Caesar salad. I didn't have Chick-fil-A today either, so Vish was very proud of me.
I mean, it would have been the third time this week, so.
Yeah, no. Well, the first time was breakfast. That doesn't count. But I had it with my mom the other day, so I chose not to have it.
Are you working Monday?
Anyway. Yes, I work Monday.
Okay, working Monday. I'm flying Tuesday.
Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. I'm off Tuesday, but you're flying.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe Friday we can do a breakdown.
If you and well, I don't know why we're doing show planning on the show, but
because there has to be some type of tangent on the pod at some.
Yeah.
We need a hodgepodge of crap section of the show.
I should have copyrighted that before you stole it. Yeah. I mean, if you and Matt want to do a show Tuesday, I can probably I'll be on a plane, but I can launch the show.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. There was a bunch of Twitter
definitely...
people. I don't know if they stayed and actually watched or not, but
we have more viewers than normal.
Shout out to Kings Cats Heat, Bill, Jackson, Jeff popped in. We hadn't seen Jeff in a while. Good to see you, Jeff. People watching us from Twitter. But yeah,
Bill
the
definitely
usuals.
Bill definitely hopped in as well.
Yeah. Always good to see Bill. Bill knows the reference. So anything else to add, Vish?
No, I gotta go steal money from people to pay for my next trip. So I'm gonna go
do the thing real quick.
The confetti thing? You think it's gonna pick up on the road? It's like it's not happening.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It's better work. I'll look like a fucking idiot otherwise.
Alrighty. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
I had an issue.
Dang,
here.
you just. Jeez.
The show's still going.
Make sure you follow us at buckets_canes. And also our regular Twitters, they're posted there. Or Inside Out with a 3. Go Canes and cue the Sox outro. Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.